clearly identify what it is your program, your service is, and don't deviate, then have a very targeted niche or vertical market that you're going after. And then everything else will open up.
Welcome to the Marketing Boost Solutions Podcast. Join host Marco Torres, co-founder of MarketingBoost.com, along with expert guests as they deliver incredible, proven solutions to your marketing challenges in each power-packed episode. Captain Marco has guided thousands of entrepreneurs, growing their sales and marketing through the use of value-add incentives. His Facebook groups are home to more than 84,000 entrepreneurs who are raking in sales with his advice. Get ready to be blown away with game-changing lessons for your business.
Welcome to another episode of the Marketing Boost Solutions Podcast. I'm your host, Marco Torres, and we're bringing you today another amazing guest. We're going to talk to you about selling, social selling, using ChatGPT, using artificial intelligence, and a whole lot more. We're going to be speaking with Brandon Cockrell, the president and founder of Lynchpin Sales. He's got a background in leading sales strategy for organizations like Wells Fargo and the PGA Tour. Brandon now drives impressive top-line revenue for both large and small brands, focusing recently a lot on the smaller brands with his growth agency consulting known for harnessing the power of high trust content, social selling, and artificial intelligence tools. Brandon is here to share his invaluable insights on business growth with the latest sales trends on how to maximize conversions and revenue in today's digital landscape. Take it away, sir. Say hello.
Well, I appreciate you having me, Marco, on. And as you went through the introduction, I mean, it makes it sound so official. So I really appreciate the length and everything that you said there. But I really appreciate you having me on.
You bet, Brandon. You've got a big background in sales and been in sales for many years. And that if you're like me, you fell into sales probably from what I recall. We had a long chat yesterday. And how you fell into sales versus others, after going to college in being in sports and what have you, and figured, hey, I might as well try sales and made a career out of it. But then you launched off into your own agency, Lynchpin Sales. Tell us about that move, how you went from, working in the corporate world into deciding to operate your own agency, and how long you've been at it. And we'll go from there.
Yeah. So, obviously it's been kind of a all over the place story, but right out of school, went directly into sales, working for Wells Fargo. And that was mid to late 2000s. Got hit because I was in the financial and then transferred over to the home mortgage side of stuff right about the time that the crash was starting in 07, 08. And it kind of forced me to look at other options, which then I had a interest in getting into B2B because with Wells, I was really more B2C at that point, wanted to get into B2B, and went to work for a telecom company at that time, which ended up being purchased by Earthlink, which is a bigger brand name that everybody's familiar with, and really cut my teeth there whenever we talk about having to go out and create opportunities. And really whenever we talk about sales, different from today than it was even then, having to cold call, having to knock on doors, being handed a phone book on your first day and saying, here's your leads. And I had to figure that out. And, it's an experience I would never take back, going through all of that. And then that kind of morphed into my opportunity to work with the PGA Tour for 5.5 years or so. So about a total of 11 years in sales. Whenever I was working at TPC Sugarloaf, which is part of the PGA Tour's golf course properties division, I was director of sales and marketing there. So I started to dabble a lot more in the marketing side, really strategic thinking around programs and offers, and started getting into the social and the digital side of stuff. And it wasn't until I had my daughter, it was my first child, that I realized that I thought I could do more. And I kind of started feeling like I was being held back, not because of anything or anybody's fault. I just felt like I wanted to do more. And so I kind of quit on a whim. It was, I didn't know what I didn't know, which is probably a good thing at the time. And all I knew is that I wanted to go out and specifically help small businesses and people that were looking to make that transition like I was, to do it in a way where it was effective and they were able to actually get results. And because I'm very results driven, just being with my sales background and obviously athletic and competitiveness. So I initially started off, the business was to be a part-time or a fractional sales management company. So I'd come in and I would actually work with small businesses that had some reps where they didn't have the budget or the opportunity to hire a sales manager full time. So I would come in and help them really come up with their processes and coach and consult from that point. And about 2 months in, I'd gotten a couple clients, which is, looking back on that, very fortunate to have clients that trusted me that quickly out of the gates. But it started to really morph into the digital side over the course of, the first couple of months in, all the way to 6 months or 12 months of doing it, because I started to realize that the real opportunity wasn't necessarily closing, but it was getting more quality opportunities, getting your brand out there, getting people wanting to do business with you, and then ultimately come in so that then you had business to close. And that's kind of what started the digital side and the agency side that it is today.
But you went from being the closer and training people how to sell to providing them with the leads and building an agency to provide leads for businesses. And of course, then you got to end up helping them set up a process to sell so that they'll can afford to buy your leads. And
For
so
sure.
on and so forth. So that I guess that led you to the idea of being a performance-based agency. And that takes guts, because if you're really getting paid based on performance, that means you're essentially commissioned, mostly commissioned or commission only. And that means you got to prove yourself on an everyday basis. What led you to do it in that direction compared to what everybody else does typically with flat fees and what have you? And would you recommend that to other agency owners?
So it was kind of two things. I mean, one, it was a little bit out of necessity at the time. I mean, I was getting into an extremely crowded industry, and there was a lot of noise out there, a lot of competition out there, and it was tough to break through. And just given the nature of what I'm all about and what I wanted our brand to be, and the main reason why I started and named it Lynchpin Sales was because I wanted our brand to be the most important piece to everybody's business, the one piece that they thought that they could not live without, because we were really the bloodline for or the lifeblood for their business. And so having that mentality, I wanted to really showcase that by doing it by performance, because I was confident in what I could bring to the table. And then obviously what we were able to bring on as a team grew based off of that. So that I didn't have a worry. I was going to do what it takes to get the results that our clients and partners needed. Now, the fact that it went a lot into the digital realm happened to just be, that was where the opportunity was and still is. And that's kind of how it morphed into that. But it also worked out very well, because the fact that we were working on a performance basis, if we didn't make them money, if we didn't generate results, we weren't getting paid either. So it forced us to look at every angle, take the budgets into account and say, how are we going to get the most out of this budget? How are we actually going to get results that drive sales, that drive revenue? And that's honestly what has enabled us to build a brand and build a team around actually driving results. And that's what I always wanted to be about. And so that's kind of how we got into it. And as far as recommending it, yes, if you're struggling to get your foot in the door, I always recommend, especially if you're just starting off, one thing that I would have done sooner is I would have done more projects for free, just to prove myself, get the case studies, and then build on top of that. Because I spent about 6 months trying to get paid for my services when I had no backing or no reason for someone to pay me for them. So a good way to offset that is maybe doing it strictly on commission or performance basis, because at least you have the opportunity to make money instead of just doing it for free.
Right. Well, you obviously helped from looking at your background and what have you. You've had success driving revenue for a ton of brands and significant additional revenue in short periods of time. Can you share some of the strategies you've employed to achieve those kind of results?
Yeah, well, every strategy is different. You really have to take into account what ultimately we're trying to accomplish. And you've got to take into account the resources that we have available. You got to take into account the budget that we have available, the brand, the message, the mission. And you really need to understand that upfront so that then you can reverse engineer back to understand how you're going to get there. One of my biggest things, and it's because I built my business doing the same stuff that we do for our clients. I still practice what I preach. I still am creating content, everything that I tell everybody to do. I'm testing new strategies and new things. So I can find out what works, and I can confidently talk about that and relay that to our partners and our clients. And one thing that I have learned and been able to establish, and a lot of this comes from the performance-based side of stuff, is that anything is possible with it, regardless of your budget. No budget, a big budget, it doesn't matter. You can accomplish and see success. It's just the strategy has to change based off of what you have available to you. And then you've got to figure out what that next step is in the process in order to then move to identifying that next bottleneck and then overcoming that. And then it's a process and a strategy of building the foundation of your business correctly. And then month after month, having positive momentum, having growth in order to continue building off of a solid foundation. Because a lot of people get shiny object syndrome. I've been guilty of that as well. And you're just going out, throwing stuff against the wall, seeing what sticks. Most of the time, not much is sticking. And it's wasted time, it's a waste of money because you have no blueprint, no strategy, no plan, which we've had obviously we've been very fortunate to work with a lot of different brands and industries, including our own, and figure a lot of stuff out.
Yeah. So what would you say are right now, the Marketing Boost community here, we're thousands of entrepreneurs, solopreneurs. Most of our community is business, less than 10 employees. And we've got business owners from, you name it, using Marketing Boost travel incentives to help grow their business. But what would you say are some of the latest trends in sales, business growth, or revenue that our audience ought to be looking into?
Well, obviously the biggest one's going to be ChatGPT and AI, and how you leverage that and utilize and really develop a skill around prompt engineering. Obviously we talked a little bit about that yesterday, and happy to go into more on that. That's a huge opportunity there, and not necessarily to generate batch content or software generated content, because I do think the market's going to get flooded with that. The more that ChatGPT becomes popular, people start using it, you'll probably have a lot of agencies coming out touting the ability to create tons of content basically overnight or in a matter of minutes. And the fact of the matter is that it's going to be a lot of repetitive content that's getting out there. It's going to flood the market. So it's becoming more and more important to be able to separate yourself, separate your brand with authentic content, and leverage ChatGPT and these AI tools as a part of your team. One thing that I was able to do whenever I started working with ChatGPT, which probably was a week after it came out, was really started to identify, how can I leverage this tool, not in a way that it makes me lazy, but in a way that it can offset things that I used to have to hire human talent for. And I came up with a process and a plan. I actually have a free training on that, where you can create personalized content for your business, even if you don't like writing, which I don't. I can write, but my mind just doesn't go there. So I leveraged it to help me and become my own copywriter. It's my social media marketer. It's my planner. It's my strategist. It's my ability to go through and analyze certain things and think from a different level, just because I use it in a different way than a lot of people are looking at using these AI tools and resources, which you want to, obviously you want to be thoughtful on how you're leveraging them and utilizing them, but utilize them in a way that allows you to do more and just allows you to expand your knowledge, your creativity, and actually execute on your strategies.
That's powerful. I'm looking forward to it. And we'll come right back and hear where you can find that free information that that he offers here, that Brandon offers. So give us a moment. We'll be right back when we hear from our sponsor.
It's time to wow, surprise, and impress your clients with the most powerful customer draw card available anywhere. The Marketing Boost Solutions Show is brought to you by Marketing Boost, where you can get valuable travel and restaurant incentives to drive your leads from prospects to paying customers. Now you can offer complimentary hotel stays in over 130 destinations worldwide. Go to marketingboostsolutions.com and try it for free right now.
Welcome back to the Marketing Boost Solutions podcast. We're here talking about growing your business using content, using ChatGPT and video content, what we're probably going to talk about next. Brandon is the expert on digital marketing and runs an agency with plenty of all kinds of clients that he's helped their brand generate all kinds of additional revenue in very short periods of time. So Brandon, back to you. Let's, where do we find, I want to cover what you just mentioned. You said you had something our listeners could find for free. Where would we go for that?
You can go to my Instagram page in the profile. The link in the bio will take you to where you can access the free training. So you can go to Brandon.Lynchpin Sales at Instagram or on Instagram, or you can go to my LinkedIn profile. And all else, just follow, shoot me a DM, and I'll send it over to you as well.
Cool. And that all those links are going to be in the notes below, guys, whether you're on YouTube or anyone, wherever you're listening to podcasts. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And so now take it away again, Brandon, with some more ideas, more tips on where or what a small business owner should be doing. You had mentioned, we talked a bit yesterday about your, content is king and how you started doing video content to start getting the word out. How does one go about doing that? Give us a little bit more.
Well, as far as the content side of stuff, and I'm very big on video. Authenticity is everything. Personal brands are everything. People are going to buy in to a person more than they are a logo in this day and age. And I'm very, very big. Obviously, a lot of people may feel uncomfortable with it. They may feel that it's not a necessity. My thought process and why I got into it years ago and just started creating videos, even though I felt uncomfortable. It used to take me 50 takes to do a video, but I knew that if I didn't start right away getting comfortable creating content, getting comfortable with social media and social selling and getting in there to really leverage these platforms and these tools and these resources, I was going to quickly get left behind. And the longer I wait, the more time, the generations that are coming up, this is how they communicate. This is how it's going to just be. And they're going to be 10 times better at it because that's just what they know. They communicate via video. They communicate via social media. And that is just what's going to happen. And more every year, it's becoming more and more important to get your brand out there on social in an authentic way. And video just happens to be that way that you can make that jump or make that leap the fastest from building trust, building credibility, building authority in your field. Now, one thing that I have realized, obviously, is that especially for industry experts, consultant coaches, solopreneurs, if you're just getting started, it's very hard just to put your phone up and just start talking into it. It's extremely hard. I've been doing it for several years and it's still hard for me. However, there's two keys that you can do that will change your ability to create content. One, document what you're doing. If you're out on a Zoom meeting with a client, you're on a Zoom meeting on a podcast, you're on a Zoom meeting or in a meeting in general, put your phone up, get a camera out, just have it recording you while you are talking. A lot of the content that I put out is just documenting every day what I'm doing. And the best content is going to come out in your video, showing you in your authentic tone and your authentic voice, just having a real conversation. So just document. I know it sounds weird, but I'm telling you, it will become 10 times easier. And by the time you take that raw footage, you have somebody edit it, you're going to look at it and you're going to be astounded at how awesome you look. I'm just telling you, I've done it. I'm helping a lot of other industry experts create content in a lot of these ways. And the first video they see, and whenever it's been edited and cut up in a professional short clip manner, it is they can't believe what they're looking at. So that's
so you're not talking about just the video like what we've got on ourselves right now that are filming. We're talking into the screen, looking at a camera. You're talking about a different angle, and it's catching you like from the side with your screen in the front, or what?
Yeah, I'm literally talking about having a camera posted up somewhere else, recording me while I'm talking to you. And that way it's documenting everything that's coming out. And then whenever you're able to edit that, video editing is insanely impactful this day and age. And you would be unbelievable. It's hard to believe until you actually do it. And that's why I go, and whenever I'm helping through one of our content creation, our brand amplifier type programs, that is something that I do for free, just to make sure people feel good about it. But what I will do, so that the first one where I'm talking about documenting, so you just have something filming you. Worst case scenario, you film it, you watch it back, you're like, man, I slipped up, I hate myself, I don't like the way this looks. You don't have to send it anywhere, you just delete it. But I'm telling you, documenting and just showing what you're doing, people want to see behind the scenes, and you're going to spit fire on that document because you're not thinking about creating the content. It's just recording you do what you do every day. It's a very, very effective way. I've been doing it. If you go to my profiles, you can see a lot of my content. You'll see what I'm talking about because I am a practitioner of this, and it's very effective and it works very well. And then the other side of it, which is what I do specifically for my clients and a lot of industry experts, solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, is that I will do Q&A interview style sessions with them, almost like what we're doing here. But I'm going to go in, I have questions, and we just have a conversation for an hour, and we record that. I then take that, have my team edit it, create about 15 short clips from that then we schedule out and post for our clients. So they're sitting there just having a conversation, not realizing that they're spitting golden nuggets the whole time that they're creating that content. And then that allows them to get out in front of their audience and show their brand and authenticity in a way to where it's natural and it's not forced. And it's a very effective way. You don't have to pay somebody to do that. I mean, you can, because with myself, I have a team that can help edit and all of that and help you walk through it. But just get a friend, just get a partner, just get somebody that's maybe trying to build their business too. And y'all go and just have conversations in a virtual setting, record it, send that off to the editor, let the editor do its thing. The editors are amazing this day and age. And
right. And this is what you refer to as high trust content and social selling by creating these videos that are just a slightly different angle. I mean, that really sounds pretty simple. We're all on these Zoom calls. We're all making our sales pitches, or we're demoing our products and services. So you're just saying, film these from a different angle and then edit away with you. So that way you get some angles of you. Some of it's your screen share. Some of it's the angle you're talking in front of the computer, and what have you, and just mix it all up. And I haven't even gone. I was here a moment ago sharing the screen, looking at your Instagram page, and seeing an example of what you're referring to, and love it. Let me go back to if you happen to be watching this on YouTube, I'm going to share the screen again, and we'll take a look at his Instagram page here, where, here he is with different angles. And I'll have to come spend some time here later and watch some of these and learn, but you can go look at this Instagram, Instagram.com/Brandon.Lynchpin Sales. Yep. So just a quick place to come
on LinkedIn and TikTok, Facebook as well.
While I've got this page open, I'll pull up your page for lynchpinsales.com. This is where you can find more of Brandon's services, Lynchpin Sales Interactive. This is his agency page, and all about him there. He's also got a page. Tell us about the Lynchpin Coach page of yours, lynchpincoach.com.
Yeah. No, I agree. But thank you for asking. I mean, over the last, I guess, 7 or 8 months, I mean, my agency's gotten to a point. My wife works full time in the agency and is really kind of taking that on because she's over our account management team and has had the ability to really take over from the agency side because I really wanted to continue doing more. I wanted to make a bigger impact. I wanted to help more, whether it was solopreneurs or businesses, whether that's a consulting side of stuff. Just given my experience, I just felt like I could make a bigger impact. And so I created lynchpincoach.com. It's based off of a 12-week program, but I've got other programs based on what your goals are and how big your team is, or if it's just you, if you're just starting out or trying to get to 6 figures or 7 figures, 8 figures. And the whole goal is to help you come up with that blueprint first and foremost, which I do for free up front. I will tell you for free what exactly you need to do. And I have no sales pitches, nothing like that. If you get what you need from a blueprint and you can take and run with it 100%, I hope you do that. And then what I feel is maybe some goodwill. And that's really what and how I've always been to a fault, almost, is just wanting to help. And so do the blueprint, but then execute on it and then stay focused on how you're going to execute on it to see that growth day after day, week after week, month after month, until we've built out a full-fledged system and you are very clear on how you scale that after that 12-week program. And if you want to continue working with me, you have the option to do so. But it's really something I'm excited about and have been working with for the last 3 or 4 months now, and it's been going fantastic. So I'm really enjoying it.
Cool, Brandon. And what would you say, is some of the biggest mistakes, misconceptions that businesses make when it comes to sales and a strategy for business growth?
Sales, it's one, they're still selling like it's 1995, and not adjusting to the way that consumers buy today. Consumers are more informed than they've ever been. Consumers actually are more in control than they've ever been. They're not looking to be sold. They're looking for an expert in the field that they're looking to purchase or get engaged in. Because most of the time, the way that people are buying, and obviously if you have content out there, you can help get in front of them and stay ahead of it so that they trust you and really are aiming or leaning towards doing business with you. But regardless if they are, they're getting all this information from a lot of different sources, and they are gathering this before they actually make that move to even speak with somebody. They want to have as much information and they want to have an idea of what they think they need. Whenever they get to that appointment, whenever they get to that point, they're looking for somebody to take the remaining 10%. So they've got 90% of the information already there. They need somebody that takes them the remainder of that 10% and does it in a way that they're able to give them confidence in their decision, or they're able to tell them, this is not what you need. You need to be thinking about these things that most likely are going to pop up because I am an expert in my industry and what I do. You need to be keeping these things in mind and being able to ask those questions so that 90 days after they make that purchase or they decide to do business with you, they're not coming back going, why did you not tell me about this? Why did you? And it just leads to a bad experience. And then just based off of the way that the internet has gone for the last couple of decades, people have been burnt a lot, and you have to be respectful about that too. So really honing in and focusing and becoming an expert, I think, is the biggest change, even in the next 5 or 10 years, whenever it comes to sales. A lot of transactional selling, I think, due to the rise of AI and technology, is going to be hurt. But if you are a true expert, if you're a true professional, trusted advisor that people can come to and they know they can trust you and you are guiding them to making the absolute best decision, it's actually going to help you out. You're actually going to be able to skyrocket with the help of AI versus being replaced. So I think that's a big thing whenever it comes to the sales mistakes that I see, is just not conforming and realizing how people are buying and how you need to go out and get in front of new prospects and how you need to go about and grab the attention of prospects that you're aiming for, whether that's B2B or B2C.
Not everybody can afford an agency out of the gate. So what suggestions or advice would you give to somebody who's starting out a small business, who's launching a new business, or is considering going off and leaving the corporate world and launching their own business?
Well, there's a lot of those may get a different answer, depending upon their situation. Obviously, I've got a little bit different of a background in the story because, I wasn't right out of college. I wasn't living with my parents. I wasn't, had that really nothing to lose type mentality that you hear a lot of stories whenever it comes to entrepreneurs. I had a child, and then the day I quit, I found out we were pregnant with our second child. And I was 11, 12 years. I was, obviously I say obviously, no, my wife is brilliant. She was doing very well. I was the breadwinner at the time. I was making well over six figures. I had a good job, and I said, I'm stopping, and I'm doing this I'm pursuing this own thing. And so I had a lot to lose, at least, obviously in my mind. It's obviously relative to everybody, what you consider things to lose, but there was a lot of pressure on that. And so would I go back and do it the same way? I don't know. I can't answer that based off of what I know, but I would, if there is one thing that I would do if you're either looking to get out of that corporate job or start your own thing, is one, clearly identify who you're going to sell to. Narrow as much as possible. Get very clear on the market, the industry, the niche, the vertical that you're going to go after. That's going to be your best opportunity to hit the ground running and to be able to be set up for success and happiness right out the gate. The second thing is clearly identify what it is your program, your package, your product, your service is, and don't deviate from the scope that you are going to provide. That is where you're going to get into a lot of bad, just bad experiences with customers and clients. Things start getting all out of the place. You have to be very stern, at least early on, with what it is you are providing. Be very clear, be very simple, and then have a very targeted niche or vertical market that you're going after, so that then your messaging is very clear and it hits home to them. Then I would definitely come up with a content plan that you are able to start getting out there in front of your target market to talk about things that are going to provide value to them and show you as that credible, that go-to authority in the space, which means get comfortable and start working on creating video content and then just posting it. Do research with hashtags that get you in front of the right people, and just start getting exposure. And that is going to allow you to, if you stay consistent with it, that is going to allow you to start building up an audience, building up a following, because you're very clear and simple on what you offer, the expected outcome of what it is that you provide. You're very clear on who you're talking to. So it makes it real easy what to talk about and what content to put out. And then you start having to put it out there, because the biggest issue is that you know so much, but nobody knows that you know it unless you're actually either putting content out or you're doing it hand-to-hand combat, so to speak, which means cold calling and networking and all this other stuff that I did for the first 12 months. And I knew if I wanted to take the next step, I had to start doing something different, which then, basically forced me to start creating video content and getting that stuff out there.
Great. There's a saying, there's riches in the niches, and that's pretty much what you're referring to there. Distill it down to a niche that you're going to serve, a unique type of avatar. Who is the product? I mean, who will your product or service solve problems for, so that you can deliver that solution for that particular problem to those particular people. And the more you niche it down, the more you can charge. So
sure. And I know this because I made that mistake for a very long time, and it set me back. And to this day, I am still pissed off about it, because I just would not get there, because I just wanted to be everything. I can help everybody. It's a very common thought process, but I promise you, if you get very, especially early on, you just have to make and build your brand in one spot, in one industry. Once you do that and you prove yourself, you're going to be able to take it and do whatever the hell else you want from that on. And I promise you that. So you just need to make it in one spot. Pick the easiest route for you to break through, and then everything else will open up as you continue to get the results for that. Your life is going to be 10 times better. You're going to grow faster. You're going to be able to hire more efficiently. And it's something that I can't preach enough about.
Folks, we'll be right back with some more from Brandon as we take a moment and hear from Automation Booster. We'll be right back.
Is your business on autopilot yet? Do you have automation in place to capture, nurture, and convert prospects into clients via email, SMS, ringless voicemails, appointment setting? Get all the inbound and outbound marketing tools in one place. Go to marketingboostsolutions.com for more on automating your business so you can make money while you sleep.
Welcome back to the Marketing Boost Solutions podcast. You just heard from Automation Booster. If your business is not automated, if you're not using the technologies that are available right now so affordably, whether you use Automation Booster or some other CRM platform, I could care less. You need it, and that's the point. You need a system that's going to nurture your leads. And I'm sure Brandon does this. I've seen this on his website. One of the services that he does with his company is if you don't already have a good CRM system in place, he helps you with that as well. So you need to be generating, when you're generating these leads that are coming into your pipeline, what are you doing with them? Are you nurturing them? Are you, starting a communications with them with email, text message, ringless voicemail broadcasting? Are you setting up, inviting them into webinars and events? And just, there's a whole lot that can be done with a platform like Automation Booster, or reach out to Brandon here and he'll help you with that kind of stuff as well. Brandon, before we wrap it up here, tell us more about some of the case studies of clients that you've helped, and how you've helped turn some of them around.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've got a lot. I mean, but there's some that kind of really stand out to me over the years. And one, I think I touched on this a little bit yesterday, but we had the opportunity. There was a family-owned business. They've been around for decades. And obviously, whenever they first started the internet, this whole online e-commerce stuff wasn't really there. But over the course of the mid-2000s and then getting the early 2000 or the 2010 and so on and so forth, really been trying to ramp up the e-commerce side of stuff because they were selling in marketplaces for their industry. And marketplaces, if you're not familiar with that terminology, it's like Amazon or eBay or Etsy, those type of marketplaces that you sell through. And they wanted to really get off. They wanted to create their own distribution. And one thing that I will just stress to everybody, this goes back to the automation stuff. If you don't have it, you start focusing on building your database. This is one thing. I'm just going to throw this in there as another thing. Start focusing on getting people off social media, off these platforms, into your database, so that then you have direct lines of communication on and in, and it's your biggest asset as a business. This is another mistake I made early on, was not focusing on that. But we helped them really get up and running whenever it came to not just running digital campaigns. And they had tried everything for, I think, 10 years up to that point, and coming to talk to us, and really had bad experiences with agencies trying to hire internally, trying to do it on themselves. And what attracted them obviously was our performance-based model. And they came in with really kind of a bitter taste. They didn't know if they wanted to give it a go. They were kind of over it. They just didn't feel like it was going to work for them, which is probably one of the biggest misconceptions about any business out there, B2B, B2C, it doesn't matter, is that online's not for them. Like, their clients aren't online. And that just, that gets debunked time and time again. But anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. So, they came to us. We had laid out the strategy of what we were looking at. And before we started with them, their largest month, I think, was around $15,000 or $16,000, and the largest year they had ever had outside of the marketplace, online, meaning they were getting sales through their own distribution or their own website. At that point was, I think they did $300,000 one year in online sales through their website. And within 45 days, I think we had done over 300,000 of working with them on a budget that I think was around $5,000 or $6,000 in ad spend. And it was really a combination. As much as marketers, we want to be like, yeah, that was all us. Look, the business had a great foundation. They had been around for a while. They had been doing all of the right stuff. They had done all the hard work. They just needed somebody that could come in, put up together the perfect strategy, and then execute on that the right way. And we were able and fortunate to do that. And within the remaining 10 months, because they came to us, I believe, towards the end of Q1 of that year, and the largest year they had previous, like I said, was 300,000. And we ended up doing 1.1 or 1.2 million. Just within the remaining of that 10 or 11 months there. So that was huge. It really changed the course of their business. Another one as well, kind of very similar, came to us. They were on their last leg. They had investors. They didn't think that they were going to be able to continue. So they came to us with our performance-based model. We don't normally like to be in the position of this is kind of our last ditch effort. We need some help. But they had such a great product and just a great brand in general that we felt like we could do some really cool stuff. And the largest month they had all in sales since they started the business was, I believe, $12,000. And before the I guess 90 days, I think it was 90 days were up, we were doing $100,000 a month. At over six figures a month at that point, which then catapulted their brand to then start getting into retail opportunities, retail stores, big stores that if I said them, you would know them. And that was life-changing and a business changing for them as well. And people that we still talk to, and some of them were able to bring marketing teams in-house, which is always great. We get to make that transition for them and take them from having a team of great marketers like ourselves that can get them to that hump and then train them on how to bring that in the house once it makes sense. And so it's there's a lot of stories out there like that, but those two specifically, I think about a lot.
Brandon, thank you for that. You were talking earlier about generating a database and keeping, I go to restaurants, I love to eat out, and it amazes me, how many brick and mortar businesses of all kinds, but something as simple as the restaurants that we all go to, right? Very rarely do any of them ever go out of their way to solicit my email and my phone number to build a database. And any other, brick and mortar operation is the same. You need to be soliciting, finding attractive ways. And by the way, that's where Marketing Boost can come in and help you dramatically, because you can create sweepstakes. You can have creatives with QR codes and say, hey, don't forget to enter to win 6 days and 5 nights in Cancun, Mexico. We're giving away this Saturday, we have grand prize, and find ways to get people to give you their name, phone number, and email so you can build that database, own that database. Because if you're building a Facebook group or any other social media following, all of that can disappear in a freaking heartbeat if Facebook decides to shut you off for some reason for something they don't. But when you build your own email, phone number database, now you've got the ability, especially if you got that CRM like Automation Booster, you've got the ability to communicate with them when you feel like it, when you want to run promotions, when you've got a slow day, when you've got an event coming up or something you want to create. Now you've got the database to email, text message, ringless voicemail broadcasting, and stay relevant, stay in front of your prospects and clients and get them to buy more and more often. So build a database, guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Preach. It is mind-boggling, and I've for years I have tried so hard to just get this through to local businesses. The power of what, like the automation booster that you're talking, the power of having a CRM system that builds up a database, because the database is your most strongest asset. If you ever want to sell, you want to get out, you want to exit, and you have a big database that has very clear numbers and conversion rate numbers, that's going to be so powerful, and that's going to be extreme leverage for your negotiating for that. And it's going to make you 10 times more valuable. But on to what you were talking about, especially with restaurants, it's I think that they're in marketing boost, what you were talking about, like as I'm sitting here thinking about it, one of the issues with gathering that information is you have a lot of frontline workers, whether that's waiters, waitresses, bartenders, things of that, hostesses, especially when in the restaurant space. I mean, obviously, if you got regular retail, it may be just someone, a sales associate that's in there, just guiding people around, register, whatnot. And it's tough to get them to make that extra effort unless they're incentivized. And having some type of a contest, having something out there. And if you're able to provide them with an experience of whoever gets the most opt-ins this month will win this trip or win this. Like there's so much opportunity for that you will reap the benefits of doing that, because what's going to happen is you're going to get a lot more people opting in. The people that are opting in obviously have tried out what it is that you offer. They understand the value. They are now loyal customers or clients or patrons, however you want to refer to them as. And if you're having a slow month, you have them in the database. The database is all about numbers. If you know your database converts at 10% every time you send an email out or a text message out, guess what? You know that, hey, I'm down 20%. We need to ramp up our specials for the last week of the year. We need to send out an SMS to our database because they are going to be the first ones that are going to take advantage of any new appetizer, any new food, any new special that you got out there, because they already know, like, and trust you. They already know the value that you bring. So that database becomes something that once you start building it, one month after another, and it's converting at 10%, you have the ability to make up revenue at the end of the month or during Q4 or holiday weeks, whatever it is. You start looking at that, and 10% of 1,000 is completely different than 10% of 5,000, and it's just a numbers game. And you've got direct lines of communication to get in front of them with people that already know, like, and trust you, that are in your target market. And it's I don't want to say frustrating. I just wish there was a better way that this could be communicated, because there's so much opportunity.
Not to mention that database give you some, we talk about email marketing, which obviously is still very effective and always has been. I've been an email marketer since 1996. And open rates aren't as big as they used to be, and click rates aren't as big as they used to be back in the days of AOL, but email still works. But guess what else you can do with that database if you aren't aware of it? You've got a big email database. You're creating all that video content we talked about earlier on the show. Well, with YouTube, you can plug in those customers, the past customers, into your YouTube audience categories, and build lookalike audiences on Facebook and on YouTube, and target those same people now when they're visiting YouTube. You can target your existing database on Facebook, and Facebook and YouTube can help you find similar people to target your content to.
Not to mention for pennies.
Right.
For pennies, you can.
Yeah, those are some of the cheapest ads that you can run, is the retargeting and stuff.
It's insane, and so there's just so much opportunity out there. It's unfortunate that I believe that the market and what we do has just been so flooded with just noise and misconception. And most importantly, I think the biggest thing is just shiny object. A new platform comes out, all of a sudden TikTok you got to be on, all of a sudden you got to be using AI, and if you're not, you're done, and all this other stuff where people don't really think about the basics. And that's what I try to really look is whenever I'm speaking with anybody, is what is realistic, and then how do we leverage everything that we have at our disposal to get the most out of it, and then how do we grow that, and how do we measure success day after day, week after week, if it's not revenue quite yet. But ultimately you want it to be revenue. That's the name of the game. Without revenue you can't do anything. But I mean, we're on the same page with all of this.
Brandon, before we wrap it up, I do want to ask you more about the prompts and ChatGPT. And I've played with it. I use it for email content creation. I've used it for video. I'll ask, I had to educate my account about it, and plug in all the FAQs. And I don't know if I'm doing it right or not. I'm interested in your course or your training on that. But I know I uploaded all of my FAQs about what Marketing Boost offers, about what my company products and services are, how they work, how they don't work. And then I started asking ChatGPT, hey, write me a YouTube script with this specific goal in mind, and I guess you would call that a prompt. And then this thing spits out a boom, within seconds it's giving me an entire script that I can put in a teleprompter and run off a video script from. Or and then when it comes back, if I don't like it, I can say, well, that was pretty good, but how about you take this part and give me another version? And the damn thing will come back in seconds with a variety of versions. But tell me more about prompt engineering, or prompt, how you use ChatGPT with the right kind of prompts. I can, all of us listening can probably learn from that.
Yeah, well, one thing that I go over in the training is obviously personalized content creation, and almost utilizing it as your copywriter, as your strategist, as your social media marketer, and a lot of other things. But one of the big ways to leverage it, at least for me, has been through audio and transcribing audio into ChatGPT, prompting it to then take that and put it into a form of an email, into social media post, even into a YouTube script if I want to make a video from the content that I was just talking into my phone and transcribing that, because I had a thought come to my brain. So now I can really utilize ChatGPT to then put it into written form, which I'm not very good at. I say I'm not. My energy doesn't go there. I don't like it. I don't like sitting down and actually writing. But then it becomes very personalized. The issue with ChatGPT is that it's still pulling that information, and it gets very repetitive the more that you just ask it to do things the same way. And so this is a way that it takes your actual tone, your voice, your actual experiences that you are talking about, and uses that to be authentic to you, so that you're not putting it into some type of a copyright tool and it comes back that 98% of it is copywritten or 98% of it is plagiarized, which is a big part of ChatGPT content that's out there, which I believe is why a lot of big brands, I don't think, are utilizing it quite yet, because they don't know the legal ramifications of what's coming down the line. But smaller businesses, obviously, a little bit different. You're able to have a little bit more leeway whenever it comes to that, but very big on keeping it authentic. So transcription into ChatGPT, and let it be another resource that allows you to do it through that platform and use its capabilities, as opposed to having to go out and hire a copywriter or social media marketer. At that point, you can do it really fast, and it's authentic to you and what you want to talk about, because it's your words. So that is one big way to do it. My course, that's really what it goes through a lot of, is how to do that. But everything from persona prompting to audience prompting or demographic prompting, whenever it comes to asking it to act as a expert social media marketer, or act as a lawyer or whatnot. And obviously you always want to get your legal things done, but it can help in certain questions. But telling it what to do, and the more detailed and the more specific that you can get, the better you're going to have an outcome. And the more information that you can provide it, the better you're going to get that outcome as well. And even if you're looking and you don't know what to ask it, but you know kind of what you want to get from it or what you're trying to accomplish, ask it, flip, and I forgot the actual term for this prompt, but flip it around on it. Tell it to ask you questions, so that then it can help you get to what you ultimately want. So you start with your goal, you tell it what you're trying to accomplish, and then you tell it to ask you questions one by one in order to get the outcome, and it provides you with that solution. So then it's acting as that expert on the other side to help you get to where you want to go, even though you don't know even how to tell it to get there. It will tell you and get information from you that allows you to get there. So there's so many different ways, there's so many different prompts, but it's just a way of creatively thinking about it. And then also just knowing that if you haven't gotten what you want out of it, keep going and keep going back and forth. And the more that you provide it, the more you ask it, the more you tell it to do, and the more information you give it, the more you're going to get the result that you want from it.
Remind our audience again where they can find this course. Have you already launched that course, or is that something coming
Yeah,
soon?
yeah, it's a free course. Got a lot of bonuses in there from stuff I've done over the years as well. So you can go to my Instagram page. The link will take you where you'll see the opportunity for to get into the training. That Linktree link right there at the top underneath my name there. Yeah, right there. You should be able to click on that, and it will have a parts. Yep. Right there at the top, personalized content with AI, free training for industry leaders. So you can go there and get it, or LinkedIn. There's the same link underneath in my profile, LinkedIn. Or if you have any questions or you can't find it, just find me on these platforms, shoot me a note, and I'll send it right on over to you as well.
Brandon Cockrell at, here you go, Instagram.com/Brandon.Lynchpin Sales. Folks, easy to find. Again, search them on Google, search them on Instagram, search from LinkedIn. And wow, great conversation today, Brandon. Thank you for sharing all of this great content, great ideas on how to grow our business, how to create that social sales, and the trust. How did you refer to it? The trust, like, and but looking at you, trying to remember how you referred to it.
The trust, like, and know.
Yeah.
Factor.
The trust content. Yeah, the trust content that you got to have and build, and it's easy to do. And he's gave out some great ideas. We can all go to his Instagram page and kind of get some ideas on how Brandon uses a third angle video while he documents what he does on a daily basis. Great ideas, Brandon. Thank you very much, folks. If you're listening to the content and you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, and share below. And again, thank you for spending some time with us today. We'll, as I always say, stay thirsty, my friends. Stay thirsty for knowledge, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks for listening to another episode of Marketing Boost Solutions Podcast with your hosts, Captain Marco Torres. Now it's on you. Take the next step now. Go to marketingboostsolutions.com for more on how you can wow, delight, and surprise your clients with the most amazing draw card on the planet. So stay thirsty, my friends. Stay thirsty for knowledge. See you next time.